episode of Masters of Music Podcast.
This is episode 1.
Beat
This is episode 1 of MOM. Double-headed, double-sided.
Yeah, it's not awkward when Derek goes into Star Wars mode.
Yeah.
It's we actually talk about Star Wars in an episode 3, I think so, like for 40 minutes.
Episode 3. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Fuck. Okay.
Okay. So, all right. So
yeah, the podcast. This is the first podcast. Thanks for being with us.
Yes.
Basically, a podcast made about music for musicians and by musicians.
By musicians. Should we give a little brief history on ourselves?
Yeah,
maybe?
I think so.
So I'm Derek Day. I'm just a local musician, born and raised in Los Angeles. I play my main primary instrument is guitar. I've been playing it for over 12 years, something like that. And just kind of a session guy all around LA. And I won't tell you who I've played with. I'll give you a little bio on our website, and you could check it out. But yeah, I've toured the country a couple times, and earning my stripes one day at a time. And I'm just happy to play music. I'm just loving it. So
yeah, and I'm his brother, Valdemar.
This is Valdemar Vladica.
Yeah, and I'm also a guitar player. I've toured in the country, got signed and got dropped, so I know the ins and outs of this fucking industry.
Right.
So we can talk a little bit about that kind of stuff, and we do with the people that we talk about. And if you guys ever have like a question or want to know more about us, just message us, let us know, and we'll do a video or we'll just like message you back.
Yeah, me and Valdemar were on the same bit we were in the same band together.
yeah. He left to become a rock star, and then our label dropped us. And then I had to come home with my tail tucked between my legs. But we can talk about like copyright shit, because that's the crap we have to deal with. Or like we know stuff about copyrights, or like basically what happens when you sign to a label and how it works. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes like even it's just a business. Yeah,
or maybe some of you are on the brink of signing on to a major or indie label, and this could help, bring some light into it. Maybe, one thing I think we've all learned from our experience is take your time with the contract. Once the ball is rolling, it will snowball, but before signing anything or whatever, take your moment. And yeah, that's something I've learned. I've signed actually to a major label too when I was like 14, called DePass Jones, and they're just this big ass building up in Hollywood, and I learned rather quick. I was in it for 2 years, and I was able to get out of it, and that's a whole thing we could go into later. But also, we were in the indie label called Blue Lawn, and so we kind of have a little round perspective. But the people we're also interviewing too, they've lived they've gone through like many types of label deals and all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I would also say get a lawyer. Get a fucking lawyer.
Yeah, always.
Always.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. I don't know. Like what's with music news right now?
Oh yeah. So Lady A, the Lady Antebellum stuff?
Yeah. Like did you guys hear about that? Everyone? Probably?
Everyone?
Yeah? No?
Speak up.
All right, so what's going on is that Lady A is a blues artist.
Yeah, or Anita White. She's been around for over 20 years. She's about 61 now. I'm sure you guys might know some of her tunes, but she's a great blues artist. I think maybe, I don't want to say she's from Seattle, but I think she's based in Seattle. And yeah, so she's kind of around June 11th, somewhere around then, mid-June, early June, Lady Antebellum, Nashville band. Great band. They wanted to, due to what happened with George Floyd and everything going on with the protests and Black Lives Matter and everything, they wanted to change their name from Lady Antebellum to Lady A. But Anita White has been going by the name Lady A, not copywritten, just as her. Lady A White, she would go. just for over 20 years. And so it's been quite a controversial thing, and contracts are involved, and all sorts of, what do you call it? Copyrights and things have been made.
Yeah, and is it right or not? Because I don't believe it's right. I think it's messed up that a big band comes in and just takes over somebody else's name. It doesn't matter how small they are. But like I remember listening to something Gene Simmons from Kiss said before. He said when they were thinking about getting the name Kiss that there was other bands named Kiss, but they were the biggest band. So when the biggest band takes a name, the other bands have no chance.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the problems I have with Lady Antebellum and them saying that they're Lady A now.
Yeah.
Because they're eclipsing her. No matter what they do, they're gonna eclipse her.
Yeah.
There can't be another Rolling Stones.
Right.
There can't be another Metallica or Black Sabbath. There's only one. And if the bigger band comes in with already a fan base and calls themselves Lady A, they take over Lady A.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny you say the Rolling Stones, because even though it's different, the Rolling Stones I think they got it from Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
But those two things coexist perfectly, like in their own respective universes. But for some reason, Lady Antebellum even said in a quote, they're like, we wanted to do this where we could both use a name and stuff, but that is ridiculous. Like, that's never going to happen, not in modern day music, especially when you're already a Grammy Award winning artist like Lady Antebellum. Like,
yeah, and I'm also thinking, like, who are they fooling with the name? They're literally just taking... It's still Lady Antebellum. They're just calling it Lady A. Like or let's say a really bad person. This is like my go-to.
Your prime example.
My prime example. Adolf Hitler changes his name to Adolf H. I think we still know what the H stands for, right?
Yeah.
Go. I thought you guys were artists, man. Change your name to something different.
Yeah.
Be artistic. You can do anything.
God, yeah, it's not gonna be Adolf Happy or anything.
Yeah. What the hell? It's still Lady Antebellum. I don't care what you say. Your initials are still your initials.
Yeah, exactly.
But we gotta move on because we got Tony Franklin. He's waiting for us.
He's waiting for us right now.
Yeah,
we gotta change our clothes too.
Yeah, fucking. I'm gonna get. But yeah, Tony Franklin, the Fretless Monster. If you guys know him, he's a badass bass player. He plays a fretless bass. He actually has one by Fender, which is also sponsors Derek. If anybody knows.
Oh yeah. Oh Arthur, can you bring me that Telecaster?
Yeah, Derek has some badass guitars. But we're still talking about.
Fender. No, I just want to say I'm also endorsed by Fender. Thanks, Fender. This show is brought to you always by Fender. Fender. All right, here you go. Thank you, Arthur.
Hopefully, they will endorse us too
with Fender podcast stuff. We're on the topic of the Fretless Monster. Tony Franklin. He's played for Whitesnake, Quiet Riot, Blue Murder, The Firm.
Yeah, he's a badass, a rock star. He's a rock star and a legend.
Look
it up.
Here's Tony Franklin. Copyright. Yeah. So how you doing, man? I haven't seen you since last year or something.
Well, gosh, has it been that long? Did we do anything at the beginning of this year? Yeah, you know what? We did the thing at NAMM, didn't we? At the car museum, but that was January. It might be since then.
Oh,
I know, it's crazy. It's been too long.
Wow, I can't even believe that was this year. NAMM.
I know. It feels like a whole other lifetime.
Yeah. That's great.
But I know I'm just raring to go. I'm doing good though. We make the best of it, don't we? We're creative. We get resourceful, and finishing off a lot of things that have been on the back burner for a while. So
that's so.
You make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, oh, by the way, this is my eldest brother, Valdemar.
Hi.
Hey, cool man. How are ya?
I'm awesome, dude. It's awesome to meet you. The Fretless Monster in person.
Yeah, ish.
Well, kind of in person. Yes, that's me. That's me. Good to meet you too. Wow, look at you, killer hair. Love your look.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I had to make myself at least a little crazier looking than Derek on stage.
Do you play?
Yeah, I play guitar. I've been playing in bands. Derek and I played in a band before. we were actually signed together, and then he left the band to become a rock star. So, and then my band got dropped. But whatever, we'll talk about the sad stories later.
It's such a journey. I mean, you know, music business and just being a musician it's such a journey, you know. Are we still there?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, you know, I've been at this a long time now, and you see such, you know, when I was a lad, when we first started off, you know, it was all radio was king. It was before MTV and all that, and you know, all you did was, I mean, there was no internet, there was none of this. All it was you know, you get together with some like-minded people and try to write some songs and hopefully get some good ones, record them, and then maybe you get a record deal and get out there and hopefully get some record play and then get out and tour. I mean, it was fun, it was cool, but it was also, you know, the opportunities these days are so much more, even though it's different, you know, and it's not such a clear-cut way. But I mean, anybody has that opportunity to get out there if you're willing to put in the time and work hard. It's pretty cool, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that, do you think that's actually making it a little bit harder for someone to kind of branch out?
Well, that's the other thing is everybody's got that accessibility.
Yeah.
So you know, there's pros and cons to it all, and I look at it all and thankfully, you know, some people have struggled with making the adjustment to this time, especially if they came from that time. But you know, there's we can romanticize about that time and how fun it was, and I was very fortunate. I had some big breaks and all that, and not a lot of people get that. And but you know, for a lot of people, you can find different ways to get your music and your creativity out there, and hopefully make some money. But it doesn't take away from the fact you still have to be good. You know, you still have to be talented at what you do. People ask me, I get a lot of people reaching out to me. Hey, I'm a young artist, blah, 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 just starting. Do you have any advice, any guidance? I said, well, find out what it is that you really love to do and then get really, really good at it. And then connect with people who do the same thing and just, you know, get out there. You know, at the end of the day, I think it's more important for people to be authentic and to be passionate about what they do and really, you know, get and be so good at it that it's undeniable.
Right.
I mean, how do you stand out from all those people on the internet that have the same tools? You just be so good at it that it's undeniable.
Right.
Yeah, that's I'm kind of in the place where I don't think making money with music is the thing I want to do anymore, but keep creating and putting out music is what I want to do. So like
that is good, yeah.
It just feels right. It feels like it. I don't want to deal with all of like the record labels or getting signed anymore. I just want to write, create, and then put it out, and then see what happens, and keep putting it out. Even if some people might like it, some people won't, but at least I will feel like I put out something and I've done what I can and the best I can do without somebody else censoring me and like telling me like, there's so much things going on. If you want to be a rock star, there's so many hoops you have to go through to be a rock star nowadays. But I think I can still be creative and like fulfill myself. I don't know if that's
I always get a little kind of when I hear people who want to be a rock star. I mean, you know, people call me that and they say, "Oh, you're a legend," and I say, "No, I'm a legend." And so it's like, you know, it's like there's this big misconception of what is a rock star. What is a rock star? Yeah. What do you think it is? What is somebody who's doesn't have to work anymore, who can just sit back and watch their royalties come in, and you know, they live this kind of lifestyle that we all dream of. And you know, most musicians, friends, and a few of them would be classified as rock stars. They're just very simple, down to earth people like you and me. Some of them aren't, don't get me wrong, but
we'll talk about them later.
But the ones that keep going are the ones that have that love and the passion for making music. I mean, it is the way that I earn my living, and it is that puts a different emphasis and a different pressure on it, if you like. So you have to get very resourceful and very creative, and work hard. Wake up each morning thinking, hey, what can I do today to make a difference? And I'm very thankful because I'm able to be diverse. I can do educational stuff. I can be a rock star counselor and mentor at a rock and roll fantasy camp. I can play gigs. I can do sessions.
Yeah.
I can do no end of stuff. And I'm writing books as well and write songs. It's like you have to do it all these days. And I do thrive and enjoy all that stuff. But boy, it's like you don't get a break. But that's all right.
Yeah.
I'm doing something that I enjoy doing. So.
Yeah, well, Tony, you have a lot of energy, I would say. So, I mean, you got to put it somewhere.
I do, as do you, and I love that. Part of my secret is a little hit of espresso. That's my energy.
Absolutely.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
I got my Einstein. This is, I have ginger tea in here.
Very nice. Good for the ginger for singers.
Yes, absolutely.
Good for the stomach, good for the throat.
Mm-hmm. Good for like everything.
It really is. I actually juice every morning and put a whole ton of ginger in there. Ginger, lemon, apple, and celery, and it's burning hot. Yeah. But ginger is so good. It's really, really good for you. Yeah, you're right.
Awesome.
That's cool. Wait, didn't you just come back from a fantasy camp? Weren't you just like a month ago?
No, they have been put on hold. I did two. I did one in January and February. So they've been like everything. They've been on hold since then. But we had the rock camps in January, and that was John Hall from Hall and Oates.
Whoa.
And Steve Ferroni, a drummer, fantastic drummer, and then Chuck Leavell from the keyboard player from the Rolling Stones.
That's freaking nuts.
And then February it was the Deep Purple camp. We had Ian Pace and Steve Morse from Deep Purple. Yeah, that's cool. I've done a camp with them before, actually. Playing space trucking with Ian Pace is pretty special.
Oh wow. Oh my God!
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. For those that don't know, I'm a long time mentor, counselor at the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and it brings in these top name guys from all over the world. Well, the top name guys, the artists. We've had Paul Stanley. We have had the whole of Judas Priest. We had Cheap Trick at the end of October of last year. And we played the whole of Sgt. Pepper's at the Whiskey A Go Go, and I was conducting the orchestra on that. I wrote the charts and conducted the orchestra. So
yeah, damn.
Oh man,
you have to have a lot of energy to be me to keep up with everything.
God, damn, dude, yeah, Jesus.
It reminds me of I don't know if you know David Lynch, the filmmaker. He did Eraserhead, but his idea of being an artist is like living the art life. Everywhere you get inspiration, but you're always busy. You can never stop. So if you want to live the art life, kind of like what you're doing and what I feel like I'm doing and Derek's doing, even during the pandemic when we can't work, it seems like we're working even more. Yeah. Because we're always being inspired and we always got the drive.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Scott, of course, calls you the art bird.
Yeah, Scott.
And it's like I'm the same. There is creativity to be seen in everything. I mean, even when I'm doing the dishes, it's like I'm always thinking and just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And I consider myself an artist. I know you. It sounds like both of you are the same. I know you, Derek, more, but it sounds like your brother's the same. Mm-hmm. So. I'm sorry, it's not Voldemort, is it? From...
It's Voldemort, not...
minus the T.
Minus the T
okay,
with an A.
Okay.
Almost. Most people forget my name, and I'm not as cool as Derek, so it's the guy who we forget his name. Not Not the guy who sound out.
I won't forget that now because my daughter and I are big fans of Harry Potter. So now I'll just take off the lose the T.
Yeah. It's funny.
Got it.
That's funny that you did this because pretty much you trade the Voldemort's. You add a nose and then you get Voldemort.
Yeah.
So
yes,
if you didn't have a nose, then you'd have to add the T.
Yeah.
You see, I even get creative with how I remember people's names.
Yeah.
It's like, a rock camp, you see so many people. And so it's like, okay, I have like 5 or 6 people in my band.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a Steve on the drums. How am I going to remember that? Okay, I think of Steve Ferroni, the drummer. Okay, it's like Steve. Okay, so let's associate that with the drummer. And then we have Roger on bass one time. So I'm thinking, okay, Roger Glover. It's like how I remember that. I start putting them together with people that I know, and it's creativity is wonderful, and I find it keeps my mind active, and it's just it's everywhere. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. It adds excitement, I think, to everything. Like even when I'm watching TV, I think about what the cameraman's thinking while everything's happening, and it's always like. Even what they're trying to feed you from music or whatever, a creative person will still look at it in a different way than it's just the way that they serve it to you.
Yeah.
I think that's
absolutely. In fact, when I'm watching something on, I usually watch it on the computer, but it's, if there's music, if they have music playing, I'll play along on the bass to create and play with it so that I'm exploring. So I'm using my time, even though I'm watching a show. I'll play along with it and, figure out, what key they're in. I'm going to improvise with it.
But it's a good idea for like trying to write a new riff or something too.
It really gets you because you never know where the music's going, right?
Yeah.
It's like, where's this going? What key's it in? I've got to improvise, and gets you really, the thinking and being in the moment and being creative at that point. So I don't waste a moment.
I've done that before, but my wife doesn't like it.
I can understand that. Well, they have their own shows. So I watch mine on the computer, which works out. She watches different things to me. So
That's awesome.
But, it's fun. But what have you been doing, Derek? What have you been doing? I mean, I've seen some of your live, shows and all that you've been doing from home.
Yeah, I used to do one every week, and then I realized it kind of now I'm home now, just focusing on writing like every day, and I record on some GarageBand, some like random demos, and I slowed down. I haven't done a live stream in over a couple weeks now.
But
so I haven't. I've been wanting to do a live stream, and I haven't yet. So it's probably to my advantage. That it's that I'm a little bit more elusive and all that. Even though I'm very present on social media and have different outlets and all that. So it's it's an interesting. I was going to say game. It is almost like a game, isn't it? Really, you figure out the rules of it, but then again, life's a game, isn't it? So you figure out the rules as we're going along too.
Yeah. Oh man, and everyone's on a different level, different stage, or I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I will allow you to ask one question. One thing I said when Derek approached me about this was, I didn't want to do. I've kind of pulled back from doing them because I tend to get asked a lot of questions, the same questions, and so I start repeating the same stories, and it becomes a little tedious. You get into a routine. It's that I've told that story before, and you tell it again, and it becomes the same story. So we deliberately went into this not asking any questions about my past or anything.
Right.
But if you have one burning question, or maybe you don't, but if you do, then fire away. I'm in the mood.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Awesome. Because Tony, also you mentioned that you don't do interviews too much nowadays. You're kind of like, you know what? Yeah, like you said, it's just tedious and. So
I have been, but it turned into the like all of us. I did a bunch of interviews when lockdown started happening. I still get requests almost every day, but because of the repetitiveness of it all, it becomes, it dilutes what the meaning of it. It's like, same questions on a different podcast. It doesn't have that. It's not so special, is it? So
right.
But if you have one, think of a good one, and or if you don't, that's fine.
We do have a few questions, but we do it with everyone. It's like 5 questions, but we have one super important question. But we can do all 5 of them. Can be like really short. Most of them is like.
It's called the final 5. That's what we do.
The final 5. So we can add it
go
to
for
the
it.
Okay, so the first one.
Oh, wait. Before that, can I ask one question? Let me ask if I can ask this question, actually.
So can he ask that question? I'm going to ask if he can ask that question.
I'll ask if I can ask it, and he'll ask you if I can ask it.
Can he ask that question? I don't know.
So, because I'm like genuinely super curious about when you made the switch to fretless, and we've already probably talked about this backstage. Do you get that question a lot? I'm like, what the hell made you go to fretless? And because that's such an insane instrument, and like so much technique and so much precision. Talk about precision goes into that. What made you go into that? Like from regular, what did you start out with? Did you start off with? This is like a 10-part question.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm asked that occasionally, but not too often. So that's good.
Yes,
that's good.
Okay.
And I have to point out the irony of you said there's so much precision involved, and I do play only precision basses, which. It was named so because back in the early 50s when it came out, they were trying to get or corner the market of the upright bass players, right, who were transitioning to the new electric guitars and the new sounds that were coming out.
Right.
And so they called it precision bass because you can play precisely. You don't have the upright, which doesn't have the frets, so you can play the notes precisely with the frets. Right. There's a sweet irony to that, the fact that it's a Fender fretless precision bass.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point that out. But, I started off on the fretted, and I was, the bass for me was just an instant thing when it came along. I knew that was the instrument. I was playing gigs on it 3 days later. It was
wow.
So fast. I know I was 11 years old. I mean, my parents had a band, and I played gigs with them regularly. I played drums, I played keyboards, I played all sorts of instruments. But when the bass came along, that was it. It was like I knew, and it was instant. Yeah. So I played it for about 6 or so years, and then I became aware of Jaco Pastorius.
Oh yeah.
I heard him, and it's like there was something about the sound and just the inflections, the little expressions that did it for me. And it's like, wow, I have to have a fretless bass. It was as simple as that. And so got hold of one. I wanted a precision bass because that's what I loved. I didn't like the jazz bass. I still don't own one. It's just not my thing.
Right.
And, I added the extra pickup because I wasn't getting the sound that Jaco was getting, which, years later turned into my signature bass. It's funny how that happened. It was 1983 when I added that extra pickup.
Oh, that's the one Fender released, correct?
Yeah.
The Tony Franklin Fender bass?
Yeah.
Legendary.
Yeah, fretless bass. They released it in 2006, and it's still in production, which is amazing. It's incredible. So, but then it's like I'm mostly a rock player, even though I play different styles. So I just started incorporating it into rock music and found that it translated very well. It wasn't instant. going on to the fretless. It took a few years before I was really nailing it.
Wow.
So I mean, it's but you know, in hindsight, I figured there were things that I did that slowed me up, like not playing to a tuning reference. Right? If you're just playing by yourself on the fretless bass, you think you're doing all right, you know, because you got nothing to check the tuning against.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, I'm doing great, and they take it out with the band, and you're getting all the filthy looks and everything.
Yeah.
but which happened, absolutely happened. Yeah. So it's but I just loved the. It's not about all the, you know, the big slides and the novelty of it. It's more about the subtle expressions and the you know, those little bends and everything that make it very, very human, very, you know, very expressive. It's just, I love it. Love the fretless bass.
Wow. Yeah, it flows. It feels like it flows a lot more.
Yeah.
There's a lot more fluidity to a fretless bass than something like, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's very fluid. It's very slinky, and you can do so much so expressively with just been very simple. And so it's a beautiful instrument.
Wow. Yeah, man. That's crazy. 'Cause like, just and you're right. Also, just like the hints of the little thing, even when you're just playing the root note, like the little vibrato you had, the vibrato's different and stuff, and it's like it's just cool. It's just fucking.
Oh, thanks. No, I do. I love it, and when you do that stuff, it's not really so preconceived. It's like when you're singing. It's very in the moment. Very, very spontaneous. You don't think about it; you just do it, and so it's you know, that the fretless just gives me the freedom to do that, which I just love it.
That's awesome. Okay, well, hell yeah, thank you for that. I've been wondering. I must have played like 20 shows with you or something, and I still don't know. Like, I want to know where that came from. So that's cool.
Yeah. Jaco is the man. For people who don't know Jaco Pastorius, he is the original fretless guy that sparked off many fretless players and put bass to the front as well, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's worth checking him out.
Yeah. There's a good documentary
on Netflix.
Yeah, Flea's the one that did it, right? Was it Flea?
Did he? I don't know.
Yeah. No, it was Robert Trujillo was the one.
Robert.
Oh, wow.
Metallica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually went to the LA premiere of that in, whenever it was, 2005 or something. And no, 2015 or so. Yeah. But yeah, in LA, and it's a very moving story. Of course, it's a very sad story of what happened to Jaco, and yet, you know, they did a good job in touching on that stuff. You know, he had what do you call it? The not schizophrenia, but the what do you call? Oh, bipolar.
Yeah.
Now, back in the 80s, nobody really understood that, and there wasn't the medication and the doctors who got what that was about, and so you know, he was really struggling with it, and it ended up taking his life. So in 1987, I saw him play. In 1985, I actually took Jimmy Page and Chris Slade, the drummer from the firm. I told Jimmy, hey, you got to come and see this guy, Jaco Pastorius. And Jimmy hadn't heard of him, and but he certainly knew about him after that.
Yeah, so yeah, that would change any specifically guitar players playing. I think a guitar player needs to see a bassist like that. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think that the movie did a good job of showing that side, but also left it with, you know, uplifting and showing his creativity and spark for life. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss those kind of documentaries. Now we got everything like, what is it called? Tiger King and all this stuff. It always ends bad. Every single documentary is coming out. Everything always ends bad or in murder or somebody else killed somebody. That's every documentary now.
It's rough.
Yeah, and I've never watched Tiger King. I've never been drawn to watch it. I actually don't have Netflix, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
If you want, we have. You can use my password.
Yeah, I
don't want.
Thank you. That's probably for the better.
Anyway, what's your 5 questions?
Okay.
The final 5. All right.
The final 5. So number 1 is most important piece of gear like your secret weapon on tour or in the studio, if you have any. And you can choose not to answer any of these. Your hands. Oh.
My hands, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, the tone is always in the fingers. It's always in the hands.
Yeah, which of course comes from the heart, which comes from the soul. So, but you know, it all comes from the hands. I mean, I don't care what you say. You know, I can. There was this story of Steve Vai and Eddie Van Halen playing on. They were doing something together, and they both had their classic rigs right there.
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, let's switch. So can I play yours?" And he said, "Sure." And so Steve Vai gets on Eddie's guitar through Eddie's rig. It sounded just like Steve Vai. So and then Eddie's playing on Steve Vai's rig. It sounds just like Eddie because it comes from them. So that's my most important gear. I take care of these.
Damn, that's the best freaking answer. We've already had a few. We've asked a bunch of people this already, and that's like already like, bam, there you go.
Number one.
Number one.
Okay, so this is a kind of. I'll let Derek ask this one.
What's this one? This is. Okay.
It's a stock question, kind of.
Okay. This is positive or negative. Most memorable or crazy story from the road. Quick, anything from nowadays, from any time.
Yep, it was. It always comes back to this one. It was with the Firm in 1985, and we were playing Madison Square Garden, and I don't think we even had an opening band. It was just a sold-out show. 1985 was the days of the big bass solos. So for 10 minutes of the show, the night, it was just me on the stage at Madison Square Garden with the crowd going nuts. And I did my bass solo, jumping all around, and it was just, I'll never, ever forget that.
That's so nuts, yeah.
How did it feel?
Oh, and then the day after is when we saw Jaco Pastorius too. So
damn!
A full circle right there.
Yeah. That's freaking awesome.
Awesome. Okay, this is number 3. What are your tips for songwriting? Do you have one tip or like a few little things that...
Oh, boy, this is a whole subject into itself, isn't it? I do study it greatly. There's a great book called Talks with Great Composers, which find it's on the internet. It's was written by somebody who had actually a first-hand interview with Brahms. Now, Brahms, this is towards the end of his life.
Yeah.
And he actually lived a long life, so he had direct contact with a lot of the composers from the middle and even earlier 1800s, and they all told the story, which is that. And he didn't want the story told until 50 years after his passing, Brahms, because he didn't want to be misunderstood.
Wow.
But they all go into this kind of what they call this meditative God space. Where they're compelled to write, they have to write. And when Handel wrote the Messiah, he locked himself away for 3 weeks and came out after all that. The Messiah was written and said, "I've been touched by God." Now, whatever you subscribe to, it can be God, it can be the universe, it can be the Force, whatever you want.
Yeah.
But you always I often find that that writing comes at those quiet moments, or when you're doing something that takes your mind off everything else, like when you're in the shower, or if you're on a plane, or if you're traveling, or there's something, or even sitting on the toilet. It's like, you get a song idea. To me, it's about letting the creativity come through you, and not listening to too much. And getting yourself out of the way, and the inspiration will come. And there are also tools that you can use. There's a great tool called the Morning Pages, which comes from a book called The Artist's Way, which I think came out in the 90s. The Morning Pages is about writing 3 pages a day. They say in the morning, but any time is good. And you write 3 pages of absolutely free-form writing that has no plan of what it's going to be. And meaning, okay, I'm going to sit down and write. I'm not really feeling it, but, I'm going to do it anyway because I understand that it's good for my creativity, and so I'll stick with it and just go through this. Oh, look, there's a fly in the window right there, and oh, look at the clouds out there. Oh, I love the color. It's in the moment, not trying to think too much about it, just being in the moment. And there's something about that process that helps unblock any creative blocks, because you're working through it. And you're also fully in the moment and writing at the same time. There's something very powerful about it. And I've noticed when I'm consistent with that writing happens. But then you also, that's good for getting the sparks out. For me, it's about capturing the sparks, those little flickers of ideas that come, that can be so elusive that if you don't write them down right away, then they're gone. And you know how that is. Yeah. Or you record them. And then you do need to have the awareness of how to complete a song and write it and put those sparks together in a way that makes sense, that's always engaging, that tells a story or expresses an emotion, something that's authentic and real. That's it in a nutshell for me. But there's a lot more to it than that. But
right,
that's it in a nutshell.
Wow,
that's awesome. Yeah,
dude. Oh my God,
that's gonna take me like months to break down.
Yeah, just that little
those tips, like it's great. Like
that's awesome. Those morning pages, do you do that in the morning?
Yeah, it's morning pages.
Right when you wake up?
Well, you can. No, I don't. I meditate in the morning. That's another thing that gets you in the moment. Meditation is another thing to add that enhances your creativity. When I stopped partying and started meditating, then my creativity just like exploded. Right. So it's like, it's all things. I mean, what is all this pointing to? It's being in the moment. When we're in the moment, then that's when creativity and good things happen, Yeah. It's not when we're worrying about the past, worrying about the future. We're always in the moment. So all these things get us in the moment. And that to me is when inspiration and creativity and magic happens.
Wow.
Damn. Yep.
Awesome.
Your new number 4.
Okay, number 4. Really?
Still got 2 more.
What is your favorite lick or technique that has helped your playing? Is that a new one?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the same one.
I'm gonna give the inobvious answer, like I did with the hands.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my ears.
Ah.
Because it's not about learning this lick. It's not about learning all that. For me, especially as a bass player, it's listening to what the song is and what it needs.
Right.
Because I'm always trying to come up with that ideal part that sits right. Obviously, holding down the groove, holding down the low end on the bass is important. Right. But if I can construct a part that weaves between the vocals and complements it and pushes against all the other instruments in a way that is exciting and yet complements it and creates this hypnotic magic,
right,
then that to me is what I'm always trying and aspire to. And you can only really do that if you listen, because most key parts, if you think about it, are very, very simple. If you think of the hit songs, like first thing that came to mind was the Temptations' "My Girl," and it's a simple little thing. The bass line on "doom doom boom, boom boom boom." I mean, it's so simple. He probably just came up with it. But then there's also the guitar part, down, 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 down. And they were listening to the song. They came up with a part that just fit perfectly. Yeah. So you can have all the techniques, you can have all the instruments, you can have all the pedals in the world, but if you're not listening to the song and what it's needs to be, then you're gonna miss everything.
Wow.
Damn,
that's a good point. Yeah, man, it's part of me. So those songs were written so beautifully, like all those Motown songs, and right when the electric guitar was being like used perfectly and all of that. But man, they had it. I sometimes think they had it easy because nothing was written yet like that. At least, I mean, of course, you mentioned Brahms and all those brilliant composers. They wrote everything already. But like in that style of music, it was a lot easier, I think, to write those genius parts. Where all you got to do is listen, like the 2 notes, open C arpeggiating thing, and you got My Girl. You know, it's like, oh.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't as easy as it appears. You know, it sounds easy because it's been done and we can hear it all there. Yeah. But imagine if there was nothing there. It's just a complete blank slate. And it's like, come up with something that works. So, you know, it's wide open, isn't it? It's infinite what you could put in there. That's right. You got to put something that's so simple and memorable and just perfect. Wow. Probably wasn't as easy as it appears, but you hear it there. It's that, yeah, of course, you can't imagine the song without it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I always the thing that always holds me back as being a guitar player is doing what my hands do easily. Yeah. So sometimes that always ruins the song. So you have to put the guitar down and then try to sing something and then try to play that or some other way of writing it. Because, like, I was just thinking, like, if I was in the Temptations and I was writing that song, I would play what comes easily to my hands, which wouldn't be in the song. Yeah. It would be something else. It would be, that's what my style of playing grew up, you know, just like, as a guitar player, I think some people just have that problem, like, I'll just play whatever's under my fingers right now, and then that's the song, instead of, like, trying to write it in a different way or a different instrument. And like you're saying, listen, and for me, sometimes I'm like, I listen and I sing. Even though I'm not a great singer, I just put the guitar down and then I sing a part, and then it makes me play it differently. Instead of trying to... No,
absolutely right. You nailed it right there. A lot of the bass lines I come up with, I will listen first and I'll hear it in my head and just like fit it in my head first. Yeah. I very rarely write songs on the bass either, just because of that reason, unless something just comes out. But most of the time, with those moments when I get the inspiration, I don't even take it to an instrument. I've developed this thing where I can write it straight to paper, blank paper. I've developed this system where I can write, and I'm just writing the notes or the rhythm or whatever it is I'm hearing, so that it removes any obstacles of my own limitations or patterns or grooves and that. So,
wow.
Damn. You are the Mozart of bass. Like, that's what we should be calling you. I just remember that movie Amadeus, and he's like in his bed and he's like dying or whatever, and then they're like B flat over C or whatever, and then the guy has to write it down. Yeah. Like, you can write songs without even playing it. Just call Derek up and then tell him play B flat over C.
Yeah.
Quarter notes. Dotted eighths or whatever, and then Derek will be like, "What's going on?
What's going on? All right." Yeah, man. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, you know.
Damn, that's cool.
But well, that's fun though. See, but yeah. I mean, the world has yet to see my full songwriting prowess, shall we see? And this time in lockdown, I've been recording a lot of those because I want to get them out there in some form or fashion, whether they're the ones that I use. I have hundreds of them, so I've just got to get them out, in some form or fashion, so they use. But
right.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the whole songwriting process and creativity. It intrigues me.
Yeah, it's like a lifelong struggle, kind of.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Hey, so did you have one more question?
Yes. Okay, the last question. What is the best advice you would give to a person looking to do what you do?
Just listen to the last 4 answers.
Yeah. That's it.
Dude, yeah.
But no, seriously, I did mention this earlier, is to find out what it is you really love. Right. Yeah. And it can be off the wall, to get your mind out of the way, thinking, well, I can't do that. It's too weird. How can I do that? In your heart, you know what you really love to do. And, follow that and get really, really good at it. And it's so good that you're just the best at it that you can be. And, find ways to put it to use and, out there. But also, now this is the other secret weapon of mine. I have a few, but this is another one. is your mindset. You have to develop shall we say, that's a popular phrase these days, but a manifesting mindset, which means that for me, I use affirmations that, we constantly, right? And a lot of they shape what we are. And some of those can be fear driven. They can be, God, I'm tired. Yeah, or if you keep saying I'm tired enough, you'll feel tired. It'll drag you down.
Right.
But that's where a lot of I have energy, because I decide to have that. It's not, I wasn't born this way. I guess I was to a degree, but you also, I'm not getting any younger, so I want to use my time that I have very, very well and productively. But I work on my mind and my thoughts constantly. Positive affirmations. Here's one that I do. I have a highly successful career doing work that I love in the music and creative fields that generates massive income according to the universal plan. And, and then I'll just say, I'm happy, I'm prosperous, I'm successful. You can do short ones as long as they're in the present. But it's those negative thoughts for artists, they'll kill you. They'll kill a career. They'll kill all ambitions. Yeah. And so it's oh God, I just decided to take the safe route. You get a day job, and God bless those people who do that. I'm not knocking it, but you gotta, if you're really serious about something, then you have to become like obsessed with it in your mind that you can do it. Yeah. And you are doing it, not just that you can do it, that you are doing it.
Yeah,
I am a spiritual, mental, and material multimillionaire. I claim my divine birthright. And you say that with such deep conviction that you become it. It changes your energy. That's what manifesting is about: is bringing things into your sphere that you create by the magnet of your thoughts. Wow. So, get good at what you do, but then become it with the mind. And so that you attract people and circumstances and that to you that make that happen. So there you go.
That's insane.
Yes! That's freaking awesome. I'm going to go build a building right now.
Do it.
This is what I need. Yeah, I needed this.
And I'm gonna wreck it down.
Yeah, and that's Waldemar's aspiration.
My aspirations is to be Wreck-It Ralph.
It's the yin and yang, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We should do like a symbol of yin and yang, and you're the yin and I'm the yang. Those are our heads. It'll be perfect.
Yep.
Masters of Music. Well, you're an awesome guest. This was amazing.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, I loved your avocado video from 2 days ago.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of requests for that, and I finally it's the perfect avocado. I'm going for it.
It's great. And the suspense. You don't know, because we don't know. I have that problem too with all my avocados.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Is this going to be the perfect one? Or am I going to have to take out pieces? Or just throw it all out?
I have another one in the fridge that's right there, but there's a little bit of it I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? Getting that perfect one.
Yeah. When you get the perfect one.
It's the best. Yeah, it's the payoff.
I've gone through some bad avocados. That's the name of our next guy.
Yeah, been there. But it's amazing they stay in business, really. But they're just when you get it, the reward is so
yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome,
guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.
And great questions and great dialogue, and I appreciate it.
Oh man,
thanks for being on.
Thank you, man.
This is what the podcast is, the Masters of Music podcast.
Yeah.
People like you helping musicians like us and other musicians to be inspired and find out what it takes to be a musician. Not even like a rock star. This is just about being an artist and being a musician and living this kind of life.
Yeah.
And clearing it up, Because when I first started, I went to MI and all of these things. It's confusing for like young people that actually want to be. Of course
it is.
Yeah, great musicians. And people like you actually clear it up and help us like make it entertaining and make it like, and also like if you're not into it, this might help you like find a different path.
Right.
Some people like it's not for you.
Yeah.
You can be happy.
Yeah, find what you want. That's what I mean. Find what it is that you love, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so many things these days, but you got to start there as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Right. My grandmother she played music all her life. She started playing the flute when she was 75 years old. Wow. And by the time she was 80, she was teaching it.
Damn.
Wow.
You know, it's, you know, I take such inspiration from her. She was amazing. So it's like, you know, and it's never too late to find and do what you love.
Yeah.
Never.
Just be good. Just be good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And have fun. You know, if you're doing something you love, then it's fun, right?
Yeah.
So cool, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
You are a fantastic day. And Derek, I look forward to making music again with you soon.
Absolutely. You got my email. Let's throw some stuff back and forth. I don't know. I'm free.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's get something going here so that when things open up, we'll hit the world hard.
Yeah! Okay. All right, Tony Franklin. Thank you so much. The Fretless Monster.
The Fretless Monster. The Mozart Monster. Oh, that was a badass episode!
Holy moly! We had to change back into our other clothes there.
Damn, that's got me hungry too.
Yeah,
like, I'm super hungry. I think I lost like 20 pounds.
Yep.
Give or take, maybe 20 pounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a badass. So thanks for being on the first episode of
Masters of Music
podcast. Yeah, the Mom podcast. Next week we got fucking Zeph Young
from Megadeth and Bajee Assad. Amazing, versatile guitar player, multi-instrumentalist. He can do everything from flamenco to obviously thrash metal and very beautiful progressive styles of jazz and rock and roll and everything.
Yeah, so check that out. And also on the 7th, he's releasing Slow Burn. So we're going to put up stuff and links to it on the 7th. Thanks for being on our podcast, man. It's fucking awesome. This is the first day to the rest of your life.
You did it!